Okay, here goes. Hi guys, I'm back with more history content again. Once again, I know sorry if I sound a bit funny. My throat literally hurts right now because I feel like I sound like a horse. I sound really funny because my throat literally hurts every time I talk. I got this sore throat and it's not very cured, so it's still sore. I don't know what's causing it because I have been drinking a lot of water lately, but I don't know if it's helping or not. Yeah. I don't think it's helping at all. I think it's just making it worse, but I'm not fine with that. This warble I have is watermelon. I got this from Morrison's on Thursday and it's sugar-free. Yeah, it tastes fine, but I don't think they had the normal one, so I was gonna get I thought the normal one was there, but, yeah, my mom, every Thursday when I go Morrison's with my mom, I would always buy a warble, and, yeah. So, in today's video, I'm gonna be talking to you guys about King Henry VIII's 6 wives during his 37-year reign. Quick disclaimer, by the way, he was actually the second Tudor king to have 6 wives, because the first ever king to have more than 6 wives is possibly was actually Ivan the Terrible. He was a Russian monarch who had about between 6 to 8 wives. Yes, he had a lot of wives. There were 4 British monarchs who had at least 4 wives. Henry VIII had 6 wives altogether. Basically, there's a rhyme that he did. If you watch the video from Horrible Histories, it shows you that Henry VIII is singing, the 6 wives, he's singing how each one goes. It goes, divorced, beheaded, died, divorced, beheaded, survived. It goes something like this. It goes in a rhythm. It repeats divorced and beheaded twice, but it doesn't repeat the died and survived. It just stays the same. And quick disclaimer, he was the son of Henry VII, who was the first ever Tudor king, because he was king in 1485. Yeah. So basically, so technically, Henry VIII was the only Tudor king to have at least 6 wives. I'm like, jeez, dude, that's a lot of wives. So I'm going to start off by, I had to do my own research on Henry VIII's wives, because he had 6 wives during his 37-year reign, because he became king at 18, but some people say he became king at 17, so I'm not sure if it was 17 or 18. I think Google says it's 18, so I'm going to say 18 respectively. So let's look at Henry VIII's wives in the rhythm. While Henry's 6 marriages reflect his Protestant desire for a male successor and his focus on creating and maintaining important political and alliance. Technically, when he married 6 times, he wanted a male succession, a successor. Technically, he wanted a male heir. But the only wife to give him a son was actually Jane Seymour, because she was the only one to give Henry his long-awaited son. But she died 12 days later. However, it can make it difficult to remember the fate of each of Henry's wives. This famous rhyme tells of the outcome of the 6 wives of Henry VIII. That's what I'm saying, because people don't understand how they don't remember how each one of them died. King Henry VIII, to 6 wives was wedded, 1 died, 1 survived, 2 divorced, and 2 beheaded. Another popular mnemonic device is divorced, beheaded, died, divorced, beheaded, survived. This is respectively Katherine of Aragon. I'm so sorry, but why is there a K? I thought Katherine of Aragon starts with a C, not a K. What? Okay, never mind. It's kind of wrong. But yeah, don't worry. Catherine of Aragon, Anne Boleyn, Jane Seymour, Anne of Cleves, Katherine Howard, and Catherine Parr. Those are Henry VIII's 6 wives. So I'm going to go through all of Henry VIII's 6 wives. So his first wife we have is Catherine of Aragon. Now, Catherine of Aragon, this is the painting from the British school in the 16th. It was painted in the 16th century, so around in the 1500s during that time. It's in Hampton Court Palace in the Royal Collection. So this is Catherine of Aragon. She was born in 1485 until she died in 1536. She was married in 1509 until 1533 for 24 years. Yeah, and Lord. Her surviving children was only Mary I. Henry VIII's longest marriage was Catherine of Aragon, daughter of King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella of Spain. 8 years before her marriage to Henry in 1509, Catherine was married to Henry's elder brother, Arthur, who died of sickness at just 15 years old. Oh no! He was the Prince of Wales during that time. Together, Henry and Catherine had a daughter, Mary Tudor, who was born at Greenwich Palace, but Henry wanted a son. Frustrated at Catherine's persuasive inability to produce a male heir, and now in love with one of Catherine's ladies-in-waiting, Henry declared their marriage nullified in 1533. In other words, divorced. Because when Catherine of Aragon actually was married for 24 years, she was divorced by him. Henry claimed that since his wife had previously married his brother, the marriage was invalid. Catherine vigorously contended this charge, explaining that the marriage was never consumed. When the Pope refused the annulment, Henry VIII officially started his own church, the Church of England. Oh yeah, this was built during the mid-16th century, around the 1530s. That's when Henry VIII first built his own church. So now here is his second wife, Anne Boleyn. This is the portrait of Anne Boleyn. It was made on oil on panel in the late 16th century. It's in the primary collection in the National Portrait Gallery in London, by the way. So this is Anne Boleyn. Excuse me, when 1500? Since when did 1500 come into this? Hang on. Annulled. Oh yeah, annulled is another word for divorce, by the way. I forgot to mention that. She was born in 1500 and died in 1536. How could she be born in 1500? Oh my god, that doesn't make sense. She was married in 1533 until 1536. She married for only 3 years. She was beheaded. Her surviving children was Elizabeth I. Anne Boleyn became the subject of Henry's affections after he had an affair with his sister Mary. While still illegally married to Catherine, Henry began showing his esteem for Anne, openly honouring her in his court and granting her the title of Marchioness of Pembroke in September 1532. What does that even mean, by the way? Anne steadfastly refused the king's advices until she received a marriage proposal, with the couple marrying in secret in early 1533. By this time, Anne was pregnant with her first child in June 1533. She was crowned Queen of England and they had a daughter, the future Elizabeth I. Despite at least 2 miscarriages following the birth of Elizabeth at Greenwich, Anne remained in a position of relative power. Henry, however, had a natural jealous and suspicious character and was persuaded by an advisor that Anne was unfaithful. Indeed, it was from the Jolicity grounds at Greenwich that the command claimed to imprison the Queen. Following accusations of numerous crimes based on little evidence, Anne was arrested and beheaded. Find out more about Elizabeth I. Oh, thank you for that. It didn't show you Mary I. I've already done Mary I, by the way. Go check out that video. She was, by the way, guys, before we talk about how Anne Boleyn died, Catherine of Aragon died in 1536. She died on the 7th of January. She was either, murdered to death, or she died of cancer at 50. She was the oldest wife to die. And Anne Boleyn was executed on the 19th of May that same year, but 4 months later that same year. Because she was accused of treason. Here we have Henry VIII's third wife, Jane Seymour. This was the Hans Holbein the Younger. This is the portrait from the House of Holbein the Younger. Technically, basically, if you know that song, The House of Holbein, it gives me the vibes. Jane Seymour, Queen of England. It was made from oil on wood in 1536. And it's in this museum. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's in Austria. Oh, it's the only one that's not in England. It's in Austria. What? Jane Seymour, who was born around 1508/9 and died in 1537. She was married in 1536 until 1537. She died. Yeah, she was married for 1 year. Her surviving child was Edward VI. Oh, my stupid bottle. In May 1536, Henry married Jane Seymour. Unlike his previous wives, Jane never had a coronation and so was never crowned queen. Oh, that's sad. In October 1537, Henry finally got his wish, with Jane giving birth to the future King Edward VI. Sadly, Jane died less than 2 weeks after the birth. While opinion is divided as to what caused her death, it was generally assumed that it was a result of a complication from pregnancy. Jane was laid to rest in St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle. Upon Henry's death, he was buried beside her. Their son Edward would die at Greenwich in 1553. Oh, that's so sweet. Henry VIII and Jane Seymour be buried together. That's actually really sweet. No, the other wives, however. I feel like Jane Seymour loves Henry VIII more, because when she died, however, it was 12 days after Edward VI's birth, because he was born in the 12th of October, and she died the 24th, so yeah. Wife number 4 is Anne of Cleves. This is a portrait of Anne of Cleves by Hans Holbein the Younger. Yes, Hans Holbein the Younger. I remember that. She was born in 1515 and died in 1537. She was married from January to July 1540, and she was also divorced. Yes, they were married for about 6 months. No, wait, hold on. 6 months. Yeah. Wait, 6 months? Yeah, 6 months. Her surviving children, she had no children. When it comes to surviving children, you have to say there's no children. Following Jane Seymour's death, Henry spent time in mourning. As time passed, the king and his ministers felt that England needed a foreign ally against the Catholic Church. Hans Holbein the Younger was dispatched to paint a likeness of Anne, with which Henry found fond favour. However, on Anne's arrival to England, Henry expressed concerns that Anne was already married. Her figure looked too voluptuous to him for her to be a maiden. While he was eventually convinced that she was free to marry, and the marriage did take place, he was unable to consummate their marriage. The marriage was annulled months later. Another word for divorce, by the way. Anne was given a settlement in compensation for the annulment. She spent the rest of the king's life in England, maintaining her own household separate from Henry's. Anne, however, kept up friendly relationships with the king and his children for the rest of her life, and ultimately outliving both Henry and Edward. What? Oh my god, that's crazy. Wife number 5, Katherine Howard. The portrait of a lady, perhaps Katherine Howard, by Hans Holbein the Younger, around 1540. Oh, it's in the Royal Collection in London. It didn't show you where Anne of Cleves' photo was, like, the painting, because it didn't show you, like, the location of where it was. Katherine Howard was born sometime between 1518 or 1524 and died in 1542. She was married in 1540 until 1542 for 2 years. I was right. And she was also executed. Yeah, executed, beheaded, whatever. She had no surviving children. I know 3 wives didn't have any children. Actually, no, Catherine Parr did, but only with her final husband. Next in line to marry King Henry VIII was Katherine Howard, maid of honor of Anne of Cleves. By the time they married in July 1540, Henry was 49 years old. What the hell? 49? That's old. Well, Catherine, a young woman, her exact birth date remains uncertain. No longer a young man, Henry had become complement, and an old jousting wound in his leg had opened and caused him much pain. Oh, that's disgusting. Catherine was accused for treason and failing to disclose her sexual history prior to her marriage with Henry, and for intending meeting with another man during the marriage. Just months after being stripped of her title of queen, Henry had Catherine beheaded in February 1542. I might possibly say this. I might say Katherine Howard was either born not in 1518, because if she was born in 1518, she would be 24. I would say 1524, because if she was born in 1524 and died in 1542, she could have been either 17 or 18. I'm guessing she was possibly 18, because I don't actually know, because the birth date isn't actually confirmed. Now we've come to Henry's last wife, Katherine Parr. The painting of Katherine Parr, the 6th wife of King Henry VIII of England. It was made from oil on panel in the 16th century, and it's in the private collection, but where? She was born in 1548 and died in, 1512 and died in 1548. She was married in 1543 until 1547. Widowed. Widowed is technically survived. Technically, she was widowed. But I am actually going to say... but I'm going to say... Yeah, I'm going to say she survived, because she was the only one to survive. Her surviving child was only Mary Seymour, but unfortunately she died in infancy. Aww, that's so sad. Infancy. Yes, she basically died of birth. That's so sad. Yep, I remember only 2 wives had no children, only 3 of them did. The last of Henry VIII's wives was Katherine Parr, who he married in July 1543. She provided to be a kind wife who looked after Henry in his sickness, and a good stepmother to the king's 3 children, Mary, Elizabeth, and Edward. Catherine had many ties to the royal family from a young age. She was named after Catherine of Aragon, and the Parr family were close to the original royal couple. Her friendship with Mary, Henry's daughter, was how she eventually met Henry. She is descended from King Edward III. All of Henry's wives were descended in some ways from the Plantagenets. Catherine Evangelical zeal from Protestantism made her many enemies in Henry's court who tried to turn the king against her. However, she convinced Henry she was loyal to him. Henry trusted her so much that in the event of his death, he named her Queen Regnant. The king died at 55 in January 1547. Though remembered as one of Henry's wives, Catherine had her place in history with 4 husbands. Catherine Parr, in England's most married queen. Oh, wow. She was also an important patron of letters and the arts, as well as being the first woman to be published under her own name. She was a key early influence on her stepdaughter Elizabeth I. Nice. Why did King Henry VIII live and die? No! Guys, I'm not looking at that. So, technically, those were... That's so creepy. The photo... That picture is kind of creepy. So, now you have to understand how the Henry VIII's wives went, and you need to understand the rhythm more, because if you guys don't remember it, it actually remembers how all of them died and that kind of stuff. But I remember it all because I've been watching it. Because apparently there's like a channel called Six the Musical. They do videos all about, like, you know, when they were married to Henry VIII. One of them is dressed up as Catherine of Aragon, Anne Boleyn, Jane Seymour, Anne of Cleves, Katherine Howard, and Catherine Parr. Katherine Howard was only the youngest person to die, and Catherine of Aragon was possibly the oldest because she died at 50. Well, I don't know, because I actually don't know. So yeah. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure you leave a like and subscribe for more videos, for more history content, by the way. Yeah. It really helps me because I need to get more subscribers, because I'm still stuck at 180 still. Why am I still on there? I don't know. I'm supposed to be I can't speak. I'm supposed to be going up, but I'm just stuck there. But please help me reach 200 subs. Thank you.